EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Wednesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. John, how you doing on this Wednesday morning? It's good to be back in our normal 8 to 10 a.m. slot. Feels like it's been a little bit, John.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Training camp's got to keep going. It's a grind, especially with these night shows. But, hopefully a couple days back in the normal time slot. People are creatures of habit. I expect to hit 4 figures live today. It's not going good starting out. I want to hit 4 figures live today.
Come on, we need 4 figures live, which means everybody's got to hit that like button, hit the share button. All right, get some other people in here. Great to see everybody in here this morning. We're wrapped up now. 10 days of training camp, everybody. We're now 1 day before the very first preseason game. So whatever you think of preseason, it does mean the Eagles are going to take the field for the first time. So we'll be looking at that. John, what are you thinking after 10 days, man? 10 days of practice. We came in with a lot of questions, a lot of things that we talked about all summer long right here on Birds 365. And now 10 days through, how have your thoughts, your processes, your expectations, and your assumptions about this team shifted, if at all?
I would say nothing has shifted offensively. I think they've been rock solid. I think, there wasn't much uncertainty. There isn't much uncertainty. I think everything's going to plan there. If anything, Saquon has somehow looked better. So I barely even I barely even pay attention to the offense at practice, to be honest. And I'm hyper focused on the defense because of all the changes. And from that perspective, I think it's a little bit less than I was hoping for. Thought Kaylee Ringo would seize the job, and they're trading for a corner, and was always concerned about edge. I don't think there's any clarity there. Linebacker, I'm not too worried about because Zach will be back, Zach Vaughn. And I like Cooper DeJean at safety in the base defense. And, that guy's just, he's a special player, man. Yeah. I mean, he can do anything. He can, and everything, who knows if Benaiah Smith doesn't get the punt return job, he might do that again. He's the backup holder. He's just one of those guys that can do anything. So I don't think he's going to have any problem toggling between safety and slot corner at all. And, I think in more injury related, but the hope of Makuba stepping up and being a day one starter is sort of withering at least a little bit. Maybe he can turn that around when he gets into preseason action, whether that's Thursday, tomorrow, or next week. Maybe he can turn that around. But so I would say offense as expected, defense a little bit, but maybe it was too pie in the sky to hope that certain young players would make that kind of big impact early in training camp.
Yeah, speaking of the youth, John, have you noticed any big difference in camp this year versus previous years you've covered? Not just the Eagles, but at large in the NFL. This is a young team, man. Most teams do try and balance, the veteran player with the young player, and obviously when you have it's part of roster building. You can't pay everybody. We all know how that works, and that's kind of what's happened on the defense, from a sense that everybody on offense is paid and everybody on defense is on a rookie contract or a cheap player outside of Zach Vaughn, really, is it. So have you noticed any big difference in that, from that perspective about the way the team operates, the way the defense is operating, or do you think that's not going to be an issue? Because I did wonder, before training camp, hey, did we go too young? I know you want to be young. Do you want to go did we go too young? I think was a fair question. Have you noticed anything on that in that regard?
I think if that is going to show up, it'll show up during the season in times of adversity, because I do think there's something to having Brandon Graham around and Slay around and guys like that. And now you're really relying on young players to step into those leadership spots. Depending on the room, it's Jordan Davis, it's Nolan Smith, it's Nakobe Dean, it's and Zach Bond to a certain degree, and Reed Blankenship. That's a young leadership group. It's going to be interesting to see who the captains are. I would bet a lot of money on Reed Blankenship being a defensive captain. I would have bet a lot of money on Nakobe Dean, but maybe the injury ships that to somebody like Zach Bond. There was that little story about CJ when he was coming in, and it was from CJ himself, and giving Josh Jobe a little bit of as CJ's want to do, a little bit of shit. And Josh was a rookie at the time. And everybody was looking at different aspects of that story and different aspects of what CJ said. And I honed in on that because of what he said. And Jobe immediately went to Slay to try to smooth things over, showing the leadership that he had over that room.
Right.
That's stuff that's tough to figure out how it's going to be. So that to me, well, you lost two guys who have a ton of experience and were tremendous leaders. But as I always say, as important as that is, I'd rather have good players. And that, the bigger part was they were good players.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'd always rather have good players. But yeah, I mean, it's fair to say, are these guys ready to take on those leadership roles? I mean, if you go back a year, you had Fletcher Cox in the interior defensive line room. I mean, that's a big difference. And obviously Jason Kelsey, but they won a Super Bowl without those guys. But they still had the Grahams and the Slays, etc. Even Josh Sweat. So and they don't this year. So that's a valid question, but that's one that'll probably show up during the season.
Yeah, who do you think will be that guy, that Slay in that secondary room? I agree, it's going to be Reed, but do you think he?
Yeah, overall, in
yeah.
The cornerback group, it almost has to be
Coop.
You would think it would almost have to be Adoree if he's here because
Right.
of the experience. But yeah, if not, if you're
based on what we talked about yesterday.
Well, if you're not, if you're
from number 2 to number 7,
if you're going to move on from Adoree Jackson, yeah, then it's got to be one of your 2 second-year corners.
right.
I mean,
Cooper Quignon.
And of the two, because Quignon's so quiet, I would think it would be Cooper, but that's a lot to put on his plate. But he can do everything, so why can't he do that?
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening, man. It's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here this morning, back in our Wednesday, our morning time slot here. And then we have Jeff Kerr coming up this morning. And that, because you guys know, Mike Gill, world traveler, he is no longer in.
He's in Lisbon, Portugal.
No longer in the States, Mike Gill. So,
which, by the way, we better have I don't know what's the time difference in Lisbon. I assume 6 hours or so, but we better have one viewer from Lisbon. No, yeah, I'm sure Mike's busy doing stuff.
I think it's 5 hours. You're right on the money. It's 1:13 there, which would make it 5 hours. Yeah, make it 5 hours. So 5 hours ahead of us. 1:13 in Lisbon right now. And
we get a lot. We get a lot of European listeners though. So hopefully we got some Lisbon listeners.
Yeah, good stuff there. Appreciate that. Joe says 6. I think it's, I don't know. I looked it up. It says it's 1 o'clock there. So I thought 5. Maybe it's 6. Who knows? Good stuff there. And we got Jeff Kerr in hour number 1. And then in hour number 2, we got BLG, Brandon Lee Goutton. So our usual Wednesday suspect there. So I'm looking forward to talking to both of those guys. BLG's been down there. Jeff's been down there most days too, hasn't he?
Yeah. The vast majority. I missed a day or two, but the vast majority's been
Well,
done.
Jeff wears many hats. Jeff wears many hats, right?
Yeah, he covers
NFL
the Phillies,
hats,
covers the
hats.
NFL nationally. So yeah, he's got a lot on the plate, and evidently he's got to celebrate birthdays. Jeff's still in that mode. I'm like, dude, got to work. Now I'm older, obviously.
Wait, what do you mean?
He had two birthdays. He had his mother's birthday dinner, which is, that's understandable. You want to,
you always got to celebrate the mom.
yeah, you got to take him out. But
Yeah.
then he had his own birthday dinner. I'm like, come on, dude.
I saw that somewhere. I forget where I saw that. It's like you don't become a man until you get over your birthday.
Yeah,
you realize you gotta fucking work.
all my birthday means is I'm a year closer to being 6 feet under. You don't celebrate at a certain point.
Yeah, I understand that. What month is your birthday? Did we just pass it recently?
June. Yeah, June.
Oh, June. We didn't even give you.
I don't make a big deal out of it because why would I?
It for you.
Yeah, why would I? But
everybody remember that. All right, next June we'll try and figure out what day, John, and see if his mood changes even a little, 1%.
Well, it's not. It's it. If anything, it's going to change 1% in a negative way, as Nolan Smith. Smith. It's
that's a bleak outlook. You got to have a little bit more optimism.
Nolan Smith is the first player I've ever heard that admitted he got 1% worse at practice. So I give Nolan a lot of credit.
Yeah, but Nolan's the one guy that's allowed to say that, and I don't think a thing of it because he's going up against a Hall of Fame left tackle.
No, I just thought it was interesting that he admitted it. I've never heard anybody admit that before, and I applaud him for it, by the way.
Yeah, that was funny. He's like, you got to get 1% better every day. Today, I got 1% worse.
Yeah, it was great. But yeah, I like when players are honest.
Any surprising players, John, for you so far through 10 days? Anybody that's looked good that you've been pleasantly surprised by?
Well, of the young players, I think Jihad has been impressive in his way, athleticism, length. You can see all the traits that made the Eagles kind of fall in love with him. Obviously, injuries have affected Makuba, Ty Robinson. I would say a little bit disappointing, not the end of the world, but Mac McWilliams has been impressive for where he was, or what was expected of him. He's got good instincts, which I find, when players impress early, it's the guys with instincts. You look at Quinion last year, Cooper. They have great instincts. Mac, I think Mac has great instincts. I don't want to compare him to them, but
no, I know what you're saying. Though. Just at base level, he does seem to be a good instinctive player. Yeah. Any concern on that injury? Some people. One person came in the chat, and I don't know if I didn't think they were right, but hey, maybe Mac McWilliams' injury is no good, and they lost the depth. Another depth piece at corner, and that's probably maybe why they brought in Ja'Cory Bennett. I didn't think that was the case.
No, Mac's already back. He was back yesterday. So he got back pretty quick. Limited, but he was back in team drills. So, so he should be back. They might hold him out of the preseason game as a precaution, but he'll be back after. So no issues from that. He's already back from that injury. Kyle McCord's impressed me from day one with his processing for a rookie quarterback. To me, it's just unbelievable how quickly he processes and gets rid of the ball, because that is just rare with the young quarterbacks. So I think that's a positive. But you're talking about the third string quarterback, and I think Drew Kendall. It surprised me that they've taken so long, but I think we're at the point where he's going to be the second team center, the backup center. So I think things are going well there. Darius Cooper's a player I love, that dude. And I was talking to an Eagles executive at practice yesterday, and he said that Heppen kid keeps making plays. He is gifted, and he went to Tarleton State, so it's one of those things where, but he just keeps making plays. Now, obviously, it's down on the depth chart. He's not going to make the team, but I'm talking about the practice squad. But he's when you talk about, yeah, I think a lot of people have forgotten the pre-AJ, pre-Devontae time where this team couldn't find a wide receiver to save its life. And, you got guys who aren't even going to make the team who look impressive. Giles Jackson as well.
Yeah, a couple of these guys you've I've heard a lot about.
Yeah. But
Not a
Cooper
lot,
is
but just that they look better than practice squad
Yeah.
players, or at
Cooper's
least good.
Darius Cooper's really not, because when I say Cooper, people automatically go to Cooper DeJean, but
Yeah.
Darius Cooper is really explosive. I mean, just as Howie would say, he's twitchy.
Are they sure they want to keep Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson over these guys?
Yeah, they're sure. I'm not sure. They seem to be.
John, who was the viewer we had that said he had one of the undrafted wide receivers? It wasn't Darius Cooper, was it? Remember Rashid Mixon, who checked in the one day and he said,
that was
nephew
a triout. That was a tryout guy. Who,
okay, I didn't know
that was back at rookie camp.
Yeah, right.
No, Darius was signed. He was signed right away as an undrafted free agent. Giles Jackson was at the rookie camp and was a tryout player, and they signed him off the rookie camp.
Yeah,
that was a local kid who was here as a tryout player. But yeah, he's been really impressive, and he just keeps making plays. Now it's third team again, third team against third team. But
yeah.
When you're talking about, especially with tomorrow in the preseason game, you're going to see a lot of them. Hopefully, he can show it with live reps.
Yeah, baby, I can't wait to see that. How much you think Tanner McKee will play tomorrow?
Boy, I asked Nick about Tanner at the end of his press conference. He might play a quarter. He might not play.
You're not going to play the backup quarterback?
I think he will.
They're going to deprive us of even the backup?
I think he'll play
a quarter. Be fucking kidding me.
I think he'll play a quarter, but I wouldn't surprise me at all if he doesn't play.
Oh my Lord! I hope he gets at least a quarter. Come on, man.
I mean, you got Thompson Robinson, you got Kyle McCord.
John, it's not for any other reason but for him, man. Let him put some tape out there. Let him try and do something to, so people know who he is.
Well, yeah.
Maybe
they don't want to risk it.
Yeah, I guess.
So, I mean, and again, he'll probably play a quarter or that, but it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't, just from Nick's answer.
Right.
And he was kind of saying, because I basically asked, he's taking a big step up. Do you need to see him in live reps? And he said, well, that's downgrading essentially practice and that stuff and the work we do in practice, and it's all important and that kind of thing. So just the way he spoke about it, I'm like, are they not going to play Tanner McKee? So we'll see. I think they will. I want to make that clear, but it would not surprise me if they don't.
You sensed a little bit there. Your radar's going off. We'll see. We'll be following along. Slagger checks in. He says, "How is APR doing, J-Mac?" I bring that name up, John, because you said something interesting about him yesterday. Maybe on the chopping block, maybe not. Maybe a practice squad guy. I don't know if they'll get him through waivers. We'll see about that. What have you seen from APR? Just kind of the way that room has developed and what the outlook might be for that player.
Yeah, nothing basically. Hasn't gotten off the third team, and I think when they brought in Agbo, the middle-sized O, that really hurt APR because he's not getting many reps. Now, to your point, Howie doesn't like cutting draft picks, and he's going to get plenty of playing time in the preseason. And if he starts to show up and he gets a couple sacks, then it'll turn into Howie will say, I don't think we can get him through waivers, and they'll keep him on the 53, which I could definitely see that because you can probably cut Agbo and put him on the practice squad. He's vested. He doesn't have to go through waivers. So you can play the wink game, which I say all the time. And I think they're going to do that at a lot of positions and keep the young guy on the initial 53 and make these backroom deals with these veterans who don't have to go through waivers to get them on the practice squad early. and then adjust. Everybody's got 3 elevations. So if, God forbid, they needed APR to play, he wouldn't play. They would just elevate Ogbo from the practice squad for 3 games. And then if need be, put him on the 53. And by that time, guys are getting hurt and banged up, and it usually works out. But if he doesn't do anything in the preseason, he might feel comfortable just putting him on waivers. And a lot of it has to do with your relationship with the players. Like, some guys might be insulted by that and say, no, I'm going to go negotiate somewhere else and go sign somewhere else. So, but I mean, Ogbo was cut and
like they don't
in.
have to sign with the practice squad.
No. That's a negotiation, but obviously the Eagles are very good at that and usually have good relationships, and they tend to be able to get that stuff done. So, but he hasn't done much at all in practice, and really hasn't gotten off the third team for the most part. But they have a lot of bodies, they have to look at Uche and Ojulari and Ogbo, who are ahead of them. But even O'Shawn Mathis is ahead of him, which is probably not the best thing. And he's clearly a better player, O'Shawn.
Yeah. I saw O'Shawn. I think O'Shawn Mathis's mother is a watcher of ours, I think. I don't know. She retweeted.
He's a big dude. He's powerful. He's, that's a guy. He'll be here. I don't think he's going to make the roster, the initial 53, but he'll be back on the practice squad.
Yeah.
And I haven't even mentioned Patrick Johnson. I should mention Patrick Johnson because that's a guy who's can help in a lot of ways.
And he was kind of in this situation last year. Remember, weren't they thinking of keeping him? And then they,
well, they did keep him. He made the initial 53, but then they had some issues, some roster issues, and they had to waive him. And they kind of knew they were going to lose him, and they did lose him. I think the Giants were very high on the
Giants poked in
the waiver wire. So he didn't last long on the waiver wire.
And we wondered, John, if that was going to be a concern when we were running with a 3-man rotation. We were saying, hey, man, Patrick Johnson would be nice now, but it ended up working out.
Well, Vic's a little bit different. Like that would have really hurt the Eagles in the Jim Schwartz years. So, sometimes it's tough to get off the mentality of the organization when they change coaching staffs. Like Jim would have played a 4th guy. Just would have.
Right.
And Vic's like, well, we only got 3. We'll play 3.
Yeah, right.
They're young, and they should be able to handle it.
I don't want to play 3, but if I have to, I will.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He didn't want to, but he didn't feel comfortable, and that's the way it went.
All right, 2 super chats, John. Before we get to Jeff Kerr, let's get to him now. Prince checking in. What's up, Prince? J-Mac, who has been an inmate in Guantanamo Bay? I thought it was Guantanamo Bay, or is it Guantanamo?
I don't know. Who cares? But no one, because he generally is matched up with AJ and Devontae. So that's just a great matchup from play to play. And he's holding up against 2 of the best receivers in football. And Devontae was talking about it yesterday, and he said he makes everything difficult. So nobody, but he's not, they don't even throw at him when somebody, unless it's AJ and Devontae. So I guess when I say nobody, everybody but AJ and Devontae. But 90% of the time he's lined up against those guys. So those guys win their share of the battles. I'd still say they win most of the battles because it's geared towards the offense, but he makes it difficult, and that's impressive.
We'll see what ends up happening there. One more super chat to get to here. Caleb checking in. Up 2 more. Sorry. Caleb, what's up, brother? Good to see you in here, Caleb. Caleb says, I called it after the Browns game. Z, you remember. Yes, I do. I think it's on tape, my friend. I think it's on tape right here on JAKIB Sports when you join the post-game show. Run the ball. Man on the mountain. Hurts for MVP this season. I expect more passing this year. It's a bold claim, but I had it.
Oh, that's a bolder claim than run the ball, because Caleb, you're like every Eagles fan for the past 30 years. I mean, that's all Eagles fans have been saying. to the point Nick had to, shouldn't have, but had to try to quell the drunken guy behind the bench. Was that the Cleveland game? It might have been the Cleveland game.
That was the Cleveland game. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not unique in Philadelphia, but saying I expect more passing is more unique than the fan mentality of run the football, which has been a thing, since the beginning of time, basically, in Eagles football.
Valencia checks in. All pro Q. Boy, that'd be crazy if Q goes to that.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all, but a lot of things go into that. Got to get interceptions, pick sixes, blah, blah, blah.
Honestly, John, it'd be great, and I'd be happy for him, but I don't even care because I'm just thrilled that the draft pick, that the 2 draft picks you used last year at corners have turned out to be who they are, and they completely changed the outlook of our deep. Can you imagine the corner room right now if one of those guys didn't hit? I mean, it's just awesome to have 2 guys that are this capable, this talented, this good, this early in their careers in Cooper and Quignon. So whether he gets all pro or not, we're happy to have him in Philly. Good stuff. Appreciate it, Valencia. Appreciate everybody for being here this morning. Hit that like button. Let's go to our main man, Jeff Kerr. When I don't talk to Jeff Kerr on a Monday, my whole week is thrown off. So let's bring him up right now. Jeff Kerr joins us right here on Birds 365. You can follow him at Jeff Kerr CBS and read all his work at cbssports.com. Jeff, how you doing on this Wednesday morning, brother?
Yeah, the Eagles aren't practicing. It's weird not being there after the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a grind. We had 3 in a row, man. That's a grind in the modern NFL when you go 3 days in a row. But walk through preseason game. How excited are you for preseason football, Jeff Kerr?
Do you want an honest answer?
I know you're football honking. You're loving it. You're going to be watching it all the way
I want
through.
your honest answer. I want it honesty.
I'm excited to see the Shunderic Powells of the world play football.
Yeah, Shunderic Powell getting some shout out. He runs pretty hard
He does.
He's probably 175 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah. He's making plays in camp, though. I got to give the guy some credit.
I'll tell you who I was talking about. Darius Cooper, man.
Oh, yeah.
That dude just keeps making plays.
You know what, John? When you see these guys in camp, you actually do kind of get excited to see them in a live football game just to see what they do against another opponent. Although I am going to be entertained when Bengals fans love to slam down their throats and Joe Burrow looks good against the Eagles' 3rd and 4th teamers.
Yeah, he's probably going to look pretty good. But we'll see. I do think there's going to be a decent amount of defensive players, worthy defensive players, because there's so much competition on that side of the ball. And they'll need to look at some of those guys, and some of that competition is important to Vic. So there'll be some guys out there, but not the really important guys.
If you're in the Bengals organization, and I know they're trying to avoid another slow start, I don't think it can help it because I don't think their coach is that great. What's going to happen when O'Shawn Mathis decides, I am going to make a play, I am going to make a statement?
O'Shawn Mathis, that's a second reference, the O'Shawn.
Yeah, and he just decides, you know what? I have a chance to just clobber Joe Burrow.
We were talking about that yesterday. Tom Brady liked to play in the preseason, and if your quarterback likes to play in the preseason, you should defer to him. It's always a risk. Obviously, I wouldn't do it. I would try to turn him in a different direction, but if Jalen Hurts wanted to play, the Eagles would go out there for 2 series. And if you said, look, I think I need live reps, and I don't think Jalen feels that way, but if he did, I think they would play him. And I think that's what's going on. That's what went on for years with Tom, and that's what's going on with Joe. But I don't see the value in 8 reps. There's everybody's 8 reps.
Yeah,
there's going to be sloppy football week 1, week 2, week 3, no matter what.
Yeah,
and
then
true.
I could
8
see
reps isn't changing that.
I could see Burrow's point in the fact that he's always hurt this time of year. Like, I know he never plays preseason steps, so maybe that's why they're going to do it, and then they'll shut him down. But I don't know. I just think the risk isn't worth the reward.
Well, I agree with that. I wouldn't do it. I snuck in the Tanner McKee question late with Nick Sirianni. and I was just talking about it. I think they're going to play him, but it wouldn't shock me if they didn't play him. By the way, Nick was talking.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me either. I'm coming in with the expectation that he's not going to play.
Yeah, see, I got that same feel. He said, I asked him about how important live reps were for him. He's taken a big step, and he said it's a great evaluation tool, but we wouldn't be doing our job in practice if we weren't going about practice the way we do, where we evaluate there. So I think the only difference is it's live to the ground. But our offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, they're essentially going live every single play that we have pads on. That's what he said. I just got the feeling like, he's looking at those joint practices with Cleveland coming up. And I think Tanner's in the group where that's where he's going to get his work. And I just have a nagging feeling we're going to see DRT for a half and Kyle McCord for a half.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, you know what, John? I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, well, the joint practices are next Wednesday and Thursday with Cleveland. You're going to get plenty of reps against the Browns' first team, the Browns' second team. They're going to be competitive. They're going to be entertaining. I try to tell people this with the preseason, especially with this team. These games, you're just going to see guys that you and I see all the time in training camp, John, that are the third and fourth stringers, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, look, you got to find something of it. Jeff, what have you made? 10 practices deep, obviously now on the eve of their first preseason game, as we just talked about. But what has stood out to you through the first 10 days of Eagles training camp? I know you've been at many of them. I don't know if you've been at every single one of them, but from what you've seen so far, what has stuck out to you from Eagles training camp so far through the first 10 days?
Yeah, 8 of the 10 I've been at, Zander. But I took a little detour to cover the Phillies.
You're a man of many hats, Jeff. No harm, no foul in that, brother.
Yeah, but I've been impressed with Josh Uche, and I actually wrote a story about him on CBSSports.com about how Bill Belichick has helped him out and the advice he's taken from Bill Belichick. And, I asked him yesterday about kind of comparing Bill or Vic Fangio to Bill and, just trying to get, perspective. I know they're both old school mentality and stuff. And he said, you know what? It actually isn't fair to compare the two. They're both Hall of Famers. They're both defensive geniuses in their own right. And he said, one thing he liked about Bill, one thing he likes about Vic is, just the receptiveness toward both of them. But I've been impressed with Uche from what I've seen. I know we've talked about Jalen a lot, Moro Jomo a lot, but there was a battle going on for that third pass rusher spot. I think it's Josh Uche's, and it's not even close.
What about Agbo? Is he coming?
I like Agbo. I think Agbo is getting the hang of it. So, but Azeez Ujulari,
not good.
Stock down, boys.
Stock down on Ujulari. Oh man, I thought he was going to be. Listen, I'm excited because I've been high on Uche just from a purely optimism that we talked about the Temu signings all offseason. The one guy I said he's going to be the best Temu signing was Uche. So I like hearing that he's having a good camp, but we'll see. I don't know. What do you think he can do in this team, though? Isn't he more of a one-trick guy? Isn't he more of a passer? You know what I mean? That was my one question.
He is. He's more of a one-trick pony. I mean, he's not really great at stopping the run, but then again, in these 7-on-7s, you're not really seeing him do that. But when you're asking him to strictly rush the passer and use that inside move that Lane Johnson loves to talk about, he's been doing it. And he's been giving Tyler Steen some fits every once in a while. The Eagles second team guys,
everybody gives Tyler fits.
Yeah, that is true. John, who was your stock up and stock down when Kemsky asked?
Moro is stock up partially because of that. And stock down was, who did I pick stock down? Adoree because of the trade.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mine was Kaylee because of the trade. Because I thought he'd start. And
my thought there is that Kaylee's going to be here as a special. He's their best gunner. So
but to Jeff's point, he was the guy coming in that you always say, John, the Eagles want a certain thing. Doesn't mean that's how it's going to shake out, but they wanted Ringo to win it. So I kind of agree with Jeff. I agree with both of you. Those are the two
yeah,
clear losers.
You know what? It's funny. I can't wait to read that piece by Jimmy just to see what everybody picked. And yeah, I was asking a couple people who they picked. And
Wait, what did Jimmy do? He asked everybody,
He
all
does,
the beat
yeah, he
reporters
does.
Okay.
He does every year. He does a guy, guy pointing upward, pointing downward, and he just polls all the beat reporters. I would be surprised if Morrow doesn't win. I think there'll be a lot of different votes for stock down. I think some people will just look at it from just a on-field perspective. More people, but I was looking at it from the trade perspective. I mean,
that's how I was.
When you trade for a cornerback on August 5th or August 4th, whatever it was, that means things aren't going well with the other guys. There's no other way to look at it. So to me, that's a significant thing.
And you're connecting the dots where, okay, Cooper DeJean's going to safety and base defense, and he's in the slot and nickel. And so that means there's a full-time job available. They weren't putting Cooper DeJean in base defense at opposite Quinyon Mitchell. So they had plans for Bennett.
I think so. Now, I mean, he dislocates his shoulder putting on a shirt in the morning, so I'm a little concerned about that.
Yeah.
He's done it like 5 times, so I'm a little bit concerned about the injury history. But you bring up the slot. I mean, ultimately, I now believe I'm going to call it on what is today, August 6th. Long term, I don't know when it's going to happen. But I now believe that Cooper DeJean's long-term position is going to be safety.
You know what? It's funny. A.J. Brown always says all-pro Coop. And I can't wait to say this to him. I'm like, I know what you mean by all-pro Coop because I said when he was coming into the draft, Cooper DeJean will be an all-pro safety in the National Football League. And everybody flipped out. No, he's a quarterback. I said, well,
Zander told me about this song, Cooper DeJean's not a safety.
I know both of you.
I've actually heard that.
I have not heard the song, but
I've heard it.
I'm going to tweet it to you tonight, John. You're going to listen.
You're
going to love it too, John.
Everybody looks at safety like this is this god awful thing.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Ross Tucker and I are going to be talking about this today about Cooper DeJean playing safety. It's
I know it's funny. Well, I think it's because the NFL and the way they value certain positions. Like I think it's the disconnect. I talk about it all the time between the business side and the real life football side, and there's significant differences. On offense, it's running back. How much should we talk? Well, Saquon Barkley touched the football 482 times last year, and they don't want to pay running backs as a whole. Now, the reason they don't want to play running backs is not because they don't have a significant impact on the game. It's because they're worried about injuries and shelf life and long-term usage, and they don't want to get bogged down by big contracts at that position. Not that they can't have an impact on the game. And then the same thing at safety, not the health aspect, but when you look at safety and people say, well, you got to pay corners more, they do. But who outside corners? But who has a bigger impact on the game? Where can you have a bigger impact on the game? It's safety.
Safety. Yep.
By far. So I think there's a little bit of disconnect between the business side and I think the fans hone in on, well, they pay this guy more, so he's more important. That's about the business side. That's not on the Big Fangio side.
You know what? Tight ends don't get paid what they should get paid either.
Yeah, exactly. So there's certain positions for whatever reason don't match up, but he can have a much bigger impact at safety than he could have at outside corner where you're stuck to one side of the field.
Yeah, and look, I asked Cooper DeJean the other day, what do you like more, honestly, or what do you like about playing safety more? And he thought about it, gave a great answer. I can see the field more. I think he likes that.
You can see everything. But that's long term. I don't necessarily think it's going to happen here. But it's interesting you brought it up with Bennett. Because a lot of people look at him and he's 5'11", and say, well, maybe he can play. Same thing with Isaiah Rodgers. He's bigger, obviously, but same thing. Well, he looks like a slot corner, but he only played outside in Las Vegas. Now, it's not a ton of reps. I think it's 820 or so, but 720 or so were outside. So I don't think he's going to play in the slot. Now, you never know. Vic might get him and say, yeah, we can do this, and then I can put Cooper at safety, and I don't have to worry about Sidney Brown or Drew Makuba. So I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility, but there's no history in the NFL of this guy playing inside. There is some at Maryland.
Yeah, he played at Maryland. So from when I was talking to a couple Raiders people about this, they liked him. Pete Carroll didn't like him. But
well, he's not long enough. Pete Carroll wants Richard Sherman out there.
Yep, exactly. And he just wasn't a fit. And from what I was told, most consistent player at camp, and it just didn't matter. And he was getting frustrated, quietly, starting to lose some confidence. And he talked to the media last week and said, look, I'm going to do whatever I can, but I got to be honest, like, this isn't what I signed up for. Paraphrasing here, but, I think he wanted an opportunity, and I think the Raiders needed a defensive tackle, and, Brandon Hunt, Andrew Patch were in Philadelphia. They liked Thomas Booker, and Eagles had a wealth of riches there, and just seemed to work out.
Yeah, I think the trade worked out for both teams.
I did too.
I think the trade made a lot of sense, and you're right. A lot of it had to do with Brandon and Anthony, I'm sure.
Yeah, Anthony. I don't know why I said Andrew. I just correct myself.
Yeah, I'm sure they had a lot. And by the way, they worked out 3 defensive backs. Obviously, they're all ex-Eagles. It was Edmonds, it was Mekhi Gardner, it was BJ Mays, all ex-Eagles. So you can see the Brandon Hunt, Anthony Patch effect with the Las Vegas Raiders.
A little infusion of Eagles thinking in that organization will be only
that'll be a good thing. That'll be a good thing.
You know what? It's funny. Like, I know I was on the Raiders flagship show yesterday, and they were trying to ask me to talk their fans off the ledge, and I said, "Well, you got Eagles people in there, and to me, you're doing a lot of the right things. I don't know about the Christian Wilkins thing; I couldn't divulge into that, but it just seems like the moves you're making, you're trying to become a stable organization, and that's step one to being good."
I actually think Booker has a chance to be okay over there. He was kind of buried.
You know what? They actually believe Booker has a chance to start over there, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out for him. About Cooper, let's just, in theory, guys, if he could play both outside, slot, safety, wherever you want, and I think he can. I think maybe all 3 of us think that. Do you think he's actually most valuable in the long term at safety, or would it be an outside corner for him?
I would say,
what do you mean, business-wise?
No, I mean the whole pie. I mean the whole thing.
Well, business-wise, outside corner.
Yeah, business-wise, outside corner is where you're going to get paid. But I think the Eagles do calculated risk here, and I think he has a long-term impact at safety, like John said earlier. But
if it's going to be harder to replace outside corner, safeties are a lot bigger.
But you also got to remember, you got to pay Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. Oh, by the way, they're 2 top 60 players in the NFL, as voted by the players.
Who is that? Who is voting that?
Yeah, exactly. I've seen the voting before. I've talked to enough players on the voting, and I know you have.
No, I mean, whose list is that? Oh, yeah, it's one of my favorite days of the year when they bring in the list, and they have the players and they spend about 10 seconds thinking about it, and they put all their teammates down. It's
awesome. It's awesome.
A couple guys care. AJ cares a little bit, and put some thought into it, but most guys just scribble a couple names.
I did see a tweet yesterday, Zander. You say I always play, but I did see a tweet yesterday. I think it's funny. This app is going to shut down when Jalen Hurts is voted in the top 10.
I saw that too.
I said, you know what? I said, by the way the players vote, it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't shock me at all. No way.
But
Carson Wentz was 3rd once.
Yeah. Well, he deserved it in that small window. One of those crazy. The book will be written on Carson Wentz one day. maybe it won't be now, but I mean that was quite the fall because
Can
he
we
looked
do
like
Can we do a 30 for 30 on him?
he looked like a freaking superstar. I think I don't think he gets enough credit. I don't know why I'm going down to Carson Wentz.
Well, we brought him up, so
But I mean, like they don't win Super Bowl 52 without Carson Wentz.
no.
And
He was going to win MVP that year.
people say overall disappointment as a draft pick. I don't think he was at all because he got them their first Super Bowl championship.
Yeah.
And I know people say Nick Foles. No, Nick Foles was Mariano Rivera. Carson Wentz was the starter who took it 8 innings to get to Mariano Rivera.
I like to point this out to people, and this is my big worry with the current Eagle right now. Seeing Carson Wentz's knee at the Super Bowl and the scar on it, man, did that affect him. And I think it's going to affect Nakobe Dean as well.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't think the same way.
That's because he's currently on the Eagles. That's why you don't think that.
Well, I don't know. I think Nakobe's a little bit. I mean, look, I liked Wentz a lot. He was a very talented player, but I think it would be fair to say at that point in his career, he maybe I don't want to say he lacked. Well, he did. I mean, I think he lacked maturity at that age, and it affected him differently. And I'm sure Wentz looks back at that now and would have handled it differently.
I just don't think Carson came back the same guy because of the injury.
I agree with that. But why do you think Nakobe would be in the same ballpark?
Well, because the scar on Nakobe Dean is deep, and there are players here that I'll be honest, they don't need Nakobe Dean right now.
I know they don't.
And I think it's not going to affect Nakobe Dean mentally, but it's going to affect his future with this football team.
Well, that I agree with for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's nothing against Nakobe. It's just
I don't think
the only part of that I push
I
back is I think Nakobe is a little bit better mentally than Wentz was at that time. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm not going with the
it's
mental
a bleaker
aspect.
outlook for him for sure.
Yeah,
I think it's all got to do with health, and if the injury's too difficult to come, and he's gonna, he looks great. He's looked great for months. But man, look, is he going to be here in 2026? No. If he's healthy and he can go, Vic's playing him. I guarantee it.
Oh, Vic will play him because Vic likes him.
Yeah, I guarantee it. And he's going to be the middle linebacker.
I'm just worried when he comes back. I don't think it's going to be like a week 1 type thing.
No. This is like mid-season-ish. I'm talking. At best case scenario, week 5, week 6, something like that.
John, I wanted to ask you. You and I haven't talked about this again. How do you think Trotter's look?
I think he's looked solid.
Just same.
Slow and steady wins the race. He's going to win that race. Yeah, he's just been solid. Yeah, he's doing everything he should. And I think the week 1 starters are going to be Zach Bond and Jeremiah Trotter.
I'll give Trotter this. He's always in position. Whether he makes the play or not, he's there.
Instinctive, as that's the one thing Vic's looking for, one thing the Eagles are looking for. And he's very instinctive. He's got some, he's not the best athlete in the world, but especially at that position, one false step turns a 4.4 into 4.95. It's like if you take a false step, you're out of the play. It doesn't matter how athletic you are. That was Devin White's problem.
Yep, it was. Most athletic freak, but
there is a great. I remember one Eagles fan. There's a great highlight. Well, not great, of Devin White chasing somebody down like 70 yards, showing off that athleticism.
Why was he chasing him?
Exactly, because he missed the gap by 2, not 1. He was 2 gaps away from where he was supposed to do. So he was trying to dunk on people, saying Devin White is this great player. Worst possible clip you could do. Was completely out of position, which is the reason why the running back was able to go 60, 70 yards down the field. But he had the athleticism to turn around and go chase him down. That's not a positive play from a grading standpoint from guys looking at linebackers. It's great that you're that kind of athlete, but You don't want to give up 60 yards because you're not in a position where you should be. And that's what Trotter's going to do well. He's going to be in the gap where he's supposed to be. But, you know, he's not the best athlete in the world for an NFL linebacker. And that'll probably show up, especially in coverage. But he's also smart in coverage, so I think he'll be a good zone coverage player.
One thing I've been impressed with in this camp, and that it doesn't get talked about much. I did ask. I think I asked. Yeah, I did ask Trot because I didn't ask Campbell. How in sync him and Campbell have been when they're both on the field together.
Yeah, I asked him that. You know, because he's gotten a lot of first team reps with Campbell and Smile Munden.
Yeah, Smile Munden's been good too. I've been impressed with him.
Yeah, he's been very good in coverage. You know, it's one of those things where he might be a coverage linebacker, but it's not going to matter when Zach's back.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have some guys who look like they can play. And I think he's got a big upside down the road. And that's why I think Nakobe's not going to be here in 2026. But if he's healthy, he's going to play this year.
Also, John,
at some point, if he's healthy.
I think you and I have pointed this out. Or maybe it might have been me and Evan we were talking. But you ever notice how A.J. Brown and Zach Bond are actively involved? I think Eagles are just holding him out to hold him out.
Oh, yeah. They're fine. They're completely fine.
Yeah, I mean, AJ's so engaged in the practice. It's like you don't.
Well, the dead giveaway is they're both out there on the practice. If you have a significant injury, they're not letting you on the practice field. And they're there every practice, and they're not doing rehab on a side field, which means they're not involved in significant rehab for their injury. So they're just being cautious. Which you should be. There's no need for AJ tweaked his hamstring. Zach is dealing with some back stuff, but there's no reason they need to be out there on early August.
You need an all-pro receiver and an all-pro linebacker on the field in week 1.
Yeah.
Not August 6th.
Speaking of coverage, you guys were hyping up Uche. Did you? And this is the one criticism I'll have of Big Scheme. How in the hell does Josh Uche get matched up with Devontae Smith?
Oh, man, did that look bad?
That went as expected for a touchdown, by the way. That's the one thing I would say. Hey, Vic, man, what are you doing?
Did you see Jalen smiling after that play?
What? Why? What do you think? You're going to fool the quarterback? Oh, what's the defensive end doing on Devontae Smith? Shit. That's your eyes light up.
That happens a lot in Vic Scheme. That happened a lot last year.
Way too much.
That's how you can get him.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't do it that.
He doesn't do it often, but yeah, I'm like, because I remember I was with Mosher.
I don't think we can get on Uche's back for getting burnt by Smitty.
No, it's not his fault at all. It's ridiculous.
No, it was funny because everybody's like, why is Adoree Jackson got beat? And Mosher and I are like, that wasn't Adoree Jackson.
It's ridiculous. That's the one issue I have. And he loves that flat defender. He loves it.
Yeah.
And he constantly talks about it, and I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it a little
like
bit.
if you could criticize Vic Fangio for,
I mean, if you got a moron playing quarterback, okay.
That's what I mean. That's really where I feel like that would work.
Yeah,
best.
that's the thing. Eagles have Jalen Hurts playing quarterback. They don't have what's the Tyler Sheck.
Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, Tyler,
That's it.
He's not having a good camp.
I mean, if you got a rookie out there, rookie playing quarterback, or a young guy who's barely played, all right, throw some of that stuff at him and see if they get fooled.
By the way, boys, you know what I'm excited for the joint practice next week?
What's that?
That cluster, that is the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation.
Oh my God! They brought in another one.
God.
They brought in Tyler Huntley now.
I can't wait to tweet. Shedeur Sanders gets picked off by this guy, or Shedeur Sanders gets sacked by this guy.
There's two predictions I'm going to make about those two joint practices. One,
Eagles are going to win them.
Elliott's going to define the Eagles as winning the practices. That's number one. And number two, everybody's going to be raving about the Eagles defense after those two practices.
After watching Joe Flacco, Shador, or whoever their quarterback is right now, because everybody's hurt.
I think Shador might have a chance in that job. We'll see what ends up happening.
I don't think he has a chance at all.
We'll see. Here's a super chat.
I can't wait to talk to Mary Kay Cavan and Ashley Baystock about that.
Oh yeah, I saw her. She's been doing a good job. Sammy Livingston checks in.
Awesome.
Yeah, he checks in. What's up, brother? Appreciate it. Do you all view Ringo as more of a gamer than a practice player? If so, how much will he play in the first preseason game? It is an interesting question, John, because I've heard you many times talk about some guys are just better in games. They're not practice players. Jalen Hurts is kind of not a practice player. Any of that thought process on Keely Ringo? What do you guys think?
He is now, but it took Jalen a while to get there. But he is now. I've thought that about Keely, that maybe he's just
it's a good question, by the way.
But I've also said, if people listened, that if you don't show up in practice, you're not playing with Vic.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's the problem.
You kind of have to be a practice player at this stage.
So, I think there's some merit to what he says, but
By the way, I think we'll get the real Keely Ringo on the whole gamer practice player question next week, because you could call them joint practice or what? I'm calling them scrimmages. I'm calling them games. I'm calling them.
Yeah, they're far more important than this game. Those practices next week.
Zander, you want me to get excited, man? I'm gonna be so fired up for these joint practice. Next week's a big week for.
I'm fired up to see Miles, man.
Oh, I am too. I asked did I ask about Myles Garrett? Oh, Ogbo loves like playing with Myles Garrett. His eyes lit up a bit.
Yeah, man. Wait, you ask Jordan. Ask Jordan and Lane about him.
Yeah.
And they love him.
How about Ogbo saying
they've had a lot of joint practices over the years. The Eagles were out there one year. They were here. And they just spend Lane and Jordan spend like a half hour, 45 minutes after practice just trying to pick his mind, pick his brain.
John, I'm going to do the Lord's work for our group next week. I am going to go ask Myles Garrett about those two and the Browns.
And he loves it. Yeah, he loves them too.
He does. I'm so excited to see Myles Garrett, and
I was just and Njoku too, man. Those are the first two guys off the bus. Those guys are just like, wow. It's like, how do you deal with that physically? I remember the first time I was on an NFL field and somebody just, I was like taken aback by how impressive physically they were. And it was T.O. I was like, Jesus.
Oh yeah. T.O. was something.
Yeah, how do you deal with that? And that's like Miles and guys like Njoku.
Yeah,
there's a lot more of those guys now.
The joint practices 2 years ago when the Eagles and Browns, I remember I did my preseason reactions. That was the first year I started doing like NFL wide over reactions. I did preseason ones, and Browns fans loved it when I said the Browns are going to make the playoffs. Overreaction or reality? And I said reality, and I based it all off how they played against the Eagles in the joint practice. Everybody said I was crazy, and screenshot.
They killed the Eagles. That was the Myles Garrett day.
It was.
I've never seen somebody dominate a practice that wasn't a quarterback. Tom did it. Tom Brady did it against the Eagles in a joint practice. But
that was years ago too.
Yeah, that was fun. That was fun to see.
Yeah,
I've never seen a quarterback that accurate.
I remember insane. Miles said too. I asked him. I said, what got in these? If that's first best.
And then he took day 2 off, and the Eagles looked great.
Yeah, and Elliott said they wanted to practice.
It was funny. It was funny, but yeah, those joint practices are probably the funnest thing of training camp.
And they're smack dab in the middle too.
Yeah. Well, we need it. We need
That's gonna be good. That's
do
gonna
you
be
think
good.
they'll be in the afternoon, John, or do you think we'll do the morning stuff?
I hope it's the morning.
It's in Philly, right? They're coming to Philly. Right?
Yeah.
Yep. 2 days. Yeah. Next.
I guess it'll be similar. But
It's probably going to be morning. I mean, it's going to be
Yeah,
hot.
it's going to be pretty hot again.
Yeah, I would assume it's going to be hot. I mean, it's middle of
But
August.
some of it's the Browns' logistics when they're getting in. So.
Oh, right. That's true. Especially that first day. Do they probably stay over on the first night? Probably, right? Stay over here.
Yeah. Tuesday night they would stay over.
Yeah.
I'll be coming in from New York on Wednesday.
When's the preseason game? Saturday?
Saturday at 1.
Yeah, and are they going to? So they'll stay there all week, I guess.
Oh yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, well,
it's not a long trip, but you don't want to do that.
From my understanding, don't the Browns like borrow the NovaCare for their walkthrough on
Friday? They'll let them use it for their walkthrough.
Yeah, early look at next week on the weather app is showing very high 80s and 90. So
they'll try to get it in early, but there's no official time yet. But they'll try to get it in early.
John, since we're on the topic of the joint practices, would you be opposed to, the league is trying to get rid of preseason games for more regular season games. We know this. As a way to give the fans more access to this stuff, have it at the link or have it at a stadium and let them watch it.
Well, I think if they can make money off it, I from the coach's perspective, no.
Yeah, the coaches won't want it.
Yeah. I mean, the problem in the link is the room. You have 3 practice fields at NovaCare Complex. So they'll have, Eagles offense against Browns defense on one field, vice versa on the other field. So you can do things at the same time, which sucks if as a reporter, because you got to pick one.
Yeah.
And especially if you're, Ed and I will correlate, one will watch one and the other will watch the other one. But if you're by yourself, which a lot of people are, if you're in the choir, it doesn't matter because you got like 50 people, but you can only watch one thing at a time, and there's no replays in practice, as I tell everybody. That people get upset by that, Jeff. Like when I say, well, I didn't see that. Well, what do you want me to do? Lie? I can't. There's a lot going on at an NFL practice.
I tell people that at a baseball game. It was when Harper got thrown out Friday night. I criticized the call. Oh, well, you're not paying attention or you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like,
well,
that's a vantage point from where I'm at.
If you're looking at one field and there's something going on at the field 2 fields over.
Yeah, you can't see it. It's
you guys think that Twitter nerds are the voice of everybody. They're not.
No, I agree with you, but we get criticized for stuff we're seeing.
No, I don't think they're the voice of everyone, but yeah, I'm amused by people who don't understand the concept. Like it's like, what do you think? It's
very different. Yeah,
you get film. We're not getting film that we can go back and rewind. So yeah,
we can't even watch it on the big screen that they have because it's nowhere close to us.
Yeah,
and we're missing a play anyway. If we do that.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. What else? What haven't we gotten to?
How's Jalen Hurts look, Jeff, in your eyes?
My mind's are good. It's it's had a couple good. I actually thought it was funny. I was actually saying this to Martin Frank yesterday. I thought Jalen was a little off in like the individual period. Just trying to get his feel, and I'm like, maybe Jalen's not gonna have a good day. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, yeah, he's fine.
But he threw an interception.
He did throw an interception yesterday. Yes, he did.
That was a good blitz. Vic rolling out the blitz. Keely almost got a pick 6 too.
Yeah. He should have a pick. He ran over an official while doing
it. Yeah.
That was Pretzelgate, John.
Yeah, that was Pretzelgate. And that down judge was getting in my way in the red zone stuff. So maybe I should have given him more deference because he knocked his head. Then I felt bad afterwards.
I love. I had to make sure I put it in the tweet when safety Cooper DeGene had an interception. I'm like, oh, by the way, Dallas Goedert fell, and it was a good blitz.
No, I don't think Dallas fell. He peeled off.
I thought he
I don't
fell.
know why
I thought he fell
off.
from my vantage point. I thought he fell.
He broke off the route. I don't, but Jalen threw it off his back foot.
See, this is why we need replay at practice, John.
But that's the thing with trust. We always talk about trust. he trusts Dallas, so he threw it up and said, well, Dallas is, go get it. And Dallas kind of broke off the route and ended up being Cooper playing center field. But it would have been interesting because his mentality was Dallas is going to be able to go up and get it over Cooper. That's why he threw it. But yeah, he kind of peeled off the route.
I've been very impressed with Tanner McKee in these practices too.
Yeah, he's looked
Yeah,
good.
he's been good, except when he's playing shortstop with the crappy snaps.
Yeah. Well, it all depends who's making them, right, John?
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
lead in the BLG for that.
Drew Kendall, yeah, BLG's going to be on. He got little Brett Toth stray.
I saw
What
that.
does Brett Toth care? What?
Yeah,
BLG
that was a little.
I think it was his
All right,
wife.
well, all
I
right,
think it was
fucking
his
Brett
wife.
Toth. There's like 15 of you offensive linemen. He tweeted out the wrong number. Shut up.
Well, the thing about that is Brett has, and by the way, Brett, I don't know why they're playing him at center. He's a very versatile guy, play all 5 positions.
Yeah.
But he struggled with shotgun snaps. And he struggled for years. So
This isn't new.
So, when one goes awry, yeah, sometimes people, and I'm, we'll ask BLG. He can explain himself. I'm not,
Yeah.
But it was Trevor Keegan that day. Trevor Keegan was having the issues. And
it is hard to see 64 and 66. So
well, Drew Kendall's 66.
Yeah,
Drew's
Drew
been
Kendall's
fine
66.
for the most part.
He's going to be a starting center in this league. I have no doubt about that.
I don't know why he's not the second team center already. I think that'll change after the preseason game.
I thought that was pretty stupid from Toth, by the way. I mean, he corrected BLG in this long thing. BLG clearly comes out and states, okay, a mistake on my part. I apologize. And then Brett Toth has given us another soliloquy about where to get your media from. Like he's the arbiter of how to consume information. Yo, he made one mistake. Shut up, Brett Toth.
I guess he wants his media from the guys who say he's great all the time.
I thought it was just a stupid comment. All right, fine, correct him. But you
have the readers
get your media from. Yeah, I think everybody can make up their own mind about where to get their media.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on, Brett.
Correction. By the way, the stupid X thing where readers add context. So you got a bunch of Eagles fans jumping on poor BLG. Brett Toth was not playing center; he was a left guard, which he was. But it's not the worst.
Yeah, no
but again, BLG issued an apology. It's fine.
That's what I mean.
It happens.
What do you think? These guys are perfect? Like John just explained, I got two eyeballs. And no replay. If I can't see perfect, it might not be perfect.
What I don't like about that whole thing was I follow BLG. I don't follow Brett Toth. I saw the Brett Toth tweet, and then I just had to go down because I actually am like, okay, well, how did this end up? No, everybody just sees the Brett Toth tweet and then just decides to go after BLG. I don't like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's part of it, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and people pile on. It was disappointing, but and we all make mistakes.
That's what I mean. I didn't even think it was disappointing for BLG. All right, you made a mistake.
No, I don't think it was disappointing for BLG at all. I don't either. I mean, from Brett's standpoint, I'm like, if you don't admit a mistake, that's a problem. If you're a reporter, he admitted the mistake right away.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, my bad."
You're correct. We all correct.
I'll be better.
Mistakes.
Yeah, I'll be better.
If you don't, that's the problem on our part. If we don't, and if we play, I didn't make that mistake. That's a problem.
Yeah.
But he did. Should have been the end of it. But then the fans get involved, and
it's always annoyed me though when people are like, "Be careful where you do this." Okay, yeah, you have a better grasp on what I should do with. Than myself. It's
well, and the funny thing is, the vast majority of those same fans shitting on BLG are shitting on Brett Toth when they seem to do a bad snap in a game. Shitting on him unmercifully.
Yeah, in a preseason game of all things, too.
Again, the hypocrisy thing. It has no bounds.
Yeah,
but
it's
hypocrites don't care that they're hypocrites. I've learned that over the years.
And it's so different. Again, as someone who covers two of these sports, That happens in baseball. You can at least go in the clubhouse the next day. And look, I'm not criticizing. It's just the way the NFL works. But I can go in that clubhouse the next day and you can hash it out. You don't need to do it on social media. Football,
Yeah,
I can't go up to Brett Toff and just say, "Hey,
Well,
man,
more-
I'll
more-
talk to BLG about it, see what he thinks.
Yeah, more social media too has created, big issues because
Yeah, agreed.
guys see it on social media. They're on social media constantly, and they, get mad and whatever.
And
But,
John, you talk about this too, the constant like tweets too, like from people in your industry that like want to put it, which I understand why they do it. It's big impressions and you build up your name, but there's more room for error if you're tweeting on the fly while watching practice.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
There definitely is.
Yeah.
I go to practice to watch practice, not tweet.
Right. And you watch
Yeah.
practice and you write your notes after the game, and you
Yeah.
probably would have gotten that corrected if in the real time you watched it and then somebody said, "Oh no, that was Keegan." Boom. You know what I mean? Like there's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
more
yeah.
room for error.
I told a couple of content creators this. I don't tweet much during practice because I'm there to watch practice. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with content creators or anything. It's just
Well, I get why everybody's got different
Well,
approach. I mean, I understand the other approaches because I'm in the clicks business. Believe me, I understand it. But
Yeah.
I got no
Well, the
problem.
aggregators are upset because they want the information. One of the most frustrating things is, you get something, and it's on, before you even get back to the media house and start writing about it, it's already on
yeah.
70 social media sites.
Mhm.
That's frustrating. With no attribution, no nothing.
Yeah, that's going to be. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that's going away, Johnny. Man.
I remember 10 years ago.
Well, the
like,
attribution stuff should go away. I mean, anybody who wants to be in this industry has to attribute correctly.
or just
um,
retweet.
Yeah, it could be as easy as a retweet.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, we got to run. We got BLG coming up. Appreciate you doing it today, brother. It's always great talking to you on a Wednesday this week. We appreciate you being flexible and doing it for us today, brother. We'll catch you next week. All right, man.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank
Jeff.
you.
Jeff Kerr joining us here on Birds 365. Great show so far today. Hour and 16 minutes in the books. All right, we got about 44 minutes left to go here. We're going to talk to BLG, Brandon Lee Goutton, coming up next here on Birds 365. Before I do that, one chat, John, to get to about a question for you from Brandon Howard, member for 7 months. B. How, what's up, brother? John asked Vic about that flaw in his scheme and what his thoughts on if it's intended or why he has linebackers and wide receivers. That's a great topic.
Oh, I've already talked to him numerous times about it. It's a curveball. It's not designed for Josh Uche to be man and man coverage on Devontae Smith. You're trying to fool the quarterback by dropping a player that the quarterback thinks is going to be a rusher, rushing somebody who thinks he's going to be in coverage, and you're hoping to confuse or fool the quarterback. And it's, by the way, when it works, and most notably recently with Vic, check out some of the Andrew Van Ginkel plays. It can be spectacular. But I don't think the Eagles have that player right now. Maybe Jahad Campbell turns into that player. And then you can say, but when you're doing it with guys who can't do it, that's the only issue I have. And, he does it no matter what, which is, Alex Hunt maybe can do it, has looked a little bit comfortable doing it, maybe because he played some safety at Cornell. Nolan Smith is somewhat comfortable doing it. So with those guys, I don't have as big a problem. But when you start doing, and it's just practice too. I don't think he's doing it with Uche in a game. It's practice. So I don't want to overstate, but when you see it, God, it's ugly. It's Devontae Smith on Josh Uche. You're muted, Zander.
Might as well line Smitty up against the traffic cone, John. I mean, come on.
Right. Well, it went about that effectively. But yeah, I've talked to him lots about the flat defender. It's a big part of his scheme, but I don't think it's ironic because they're the number one defense. And it's his first number one defense, his first Super Bowl defense. But they don't have that particular player. So there's always room for improvement. And that's what he's looking for with Campbell. That's exactly what he's looking for with Campbell.
Yep.
Exactly.
We'll see how it all shakes out. Johnny Mac, great explanation there. Appreciate everybody for being here. We're up to 8:30, John. You said 4 figures. Come on, everybody. We're almost there. We're at 8:30, over 500 watching on YouTube. We appreciate that very much. Hit that like button. Share the video with a friend if you're up to doing that, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We'll be live all through the rest of the offseason, all through the regular season, all through the next offseason. That's what we do here on JAKIB Sports. Appreciate everybody. We'll be right back in 3 minutes here on Birds 365, and we got BLG coming up next. We'll talk about that Brett Toth encounter on social media. Stay tuned, everybody.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Thrill Seekers and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Wednesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mac, John McMullen. We are joined right now by the great Brandon Lee Goutton. You can follow him on Twitter at Brandon Goutton. Read all his work at bleedinggreennation.com. BLG, how you doing on this Wednesday morning, brother? 10 practices complete for this team.
Yeah, and I can't believe the first preseason game will already be tomorrow. It's somehow here already.
Yeah. Preseason football. How about that sense of anticipation, BLG? Are you excited?
I think it gets to like maybe about 11 minutes remaining in the third quarter each year, and it's like, okay, we can kind of wrap this up. Maybe it's like you're excited going into it. You're excited to see some of these players you see in training camp doing some good things, maybe not doing some good things, and see if that translates or not to the preseason game. But at some point in the third quarter, like, okay. Yeah, it's there's 2 more games of this.
Yeah, it's tough. I snuck in. I don't know if you're still paying attention, but I snuck in the Tanner McKee question late with Nick Sirianni at his press conference. I don't know the way you answered it. is it possible we don't see Tanner McKee and it's just Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Kyle McCord splitting the halves?
I would say I feel like you don't need to play Tanner McKee like for very long. Like I don't think he needs to be out there. I mean, maybe give him a couple drives, first quarter, something like that. But I mean, I think he looks really good in practice. I know he doesn't have a ton of NFL regular season experience, and maybe it's good to get him some action here in the preseason. But for the most part, I don't really think I need to see more from Tanner McKee. I think we already kind of know what he is.
DRT and Kyle McCord. I'm excited to see Kyle McCord. Nothing against Dorian, but I'm excited to see Kyle McCord. I'm excited to see Darius Cooper. I think I told you that on the sidelines yesterday. That dude keeps making plays. Charles Jackson as well. Anybody you're going to be focused on?
Yeah, the big two for me are, and I think this is, fun for a tracking standpoint, considering, it's tough, when it's like an offensive lineman, you can't tell live, but, a skill player like Elijah Cooks, number 86, and Darius Cooper, number 41. I think those guys have been the Eagles' most two intriguing receivers outside of the obvious top three of Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and Jahan Dotson. Really interested to see if their success in the training camp practices that we've seen can carry over to these preseason games, and then see things too like, okay, can they play on special teams? How is their blocking? Kind of those things that will also factor in into making the roster here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it all shakes out. BLG, through 10 practices, anybody sticking out to you right now? Offense, defensive side, maybe an unlikely player that you didn't expect. What's top of mind after 10 practices that you've seen? You got the big. For those who don't know, BLG is 6'9", he stands above all the other beat reporters, so he's got a different perspective than everybody else. What have you seen so far, BLG?
I'm kind of interested to see how Eli Ricks fits into the roster here, or if he does, because I think he's had some. I think he's having a better training camp this year, and I think John might agree with me, than he did last year. And we always talk about how progress development isn't linear for these players. And I think you kind of see that maybe in the case of Eli Ricks, who I thought, obviously did good things as a rookie, was able to make the team as an undrafted rookie free agent, basically be their slot corner for parts of that year, and then really didn't play much at all in his sophomore season last year in the NFL. And then this year, he kind of looks better to me. Now, there are the negative plays, as Vic Fangio has pointed out, that he needs to eliminate.
That was a theme, by the way. He said that like 5 times.
He did say that.
Players. Yeah.
And that's true. But at the same time, I think I've seen more higher highs from Eli Ricks than I did last summer.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I think he's played well. I think he should be
coming in, right?
That's the thing. That's the complication. Yeah.
All right, Brett Tothgate, BLG, because everybody's interested. Why do people? I don't understand. I mean, you said you said you made a mistake right away. That's what we got one set of eyes. I try to explain to everybody. So much is going on in practice. You can't see it all. There's no replays. Brett has a history of bad snaps playing center. He's a very versatile player. But, I'm the same way. I was like, I assume it's Brett. I'm going to be honest. I assume it's Brett. Now, that day, I think it was Drew, but Trevor had a bunch of bad snaps that day as well. For some reason, it was a bad snap day at Eagles camp. And we asked the coaches about it. Why is this such a big deal?
Well, I think we squashed the beef after practice on Sunday, talked to Brett. He got it. I made a mistake. I owned up to it. Bad job by me calling out the wrong person. He knows he's had bad snaps. He's not he's not going to deny that. But on that day, it obviously wasn't him. And honestly, my original piece of criticism, it wasn't even criticism at him. It was more like, why do the Eagles? It's more directed at the team. Why do they keep having him in this situation? Obviously, they haven't had him in there more recently. But, going back to spring and then earlier in training camp, they were having him snap the ball. And it's just perplexing because we've seen him struggle with that in the past. 2 years ago, they had to re-sign Josh Sanders just to get through the rest of training camp.
All the time. I've been talking about it for 2+ years.
It's weird.
Do it.
And that's not where his background is. It's not like Brett Toth, played.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him there more than I would center.
Yeah.
I
didn't like what he put it back to you. Just to be blunt, I thought it's like dude, I don't need to be told like who to listen to or who to read because somebody got something wrong. I'm not under the impression that BLG is infallible and gets. You guys are watching things on the fly. You got something wrong. You owned up to it. Meanwhile, Brett Toss writing diatribes about the toxicity and don't read this expert. I'm like, Brett, just shut the fuck up. Seriously, I don't need to be told who the hell to read, where to get my information. Tom, you can correct it perfectly fine. You owned up to it. I thought perfectly fine by you. And then I'm just like, all right, Brett, you've overstayed your welcome.
And I'll say, guess what? I don't care who you like. You don't have to like me. Plenty of you don't. Every single one of us has made mistakes at training camp. There's no,
there's no replay, like you said.
The problem is if you don't own up to it, BLG owned up to it right away. That's it. That's it. It should be over. And for the most part, it is. As you said, you quashed the beef with Brett. And I'm glad.
He joked too that like, hey, if I have another bad snap, tweet that out, and I'll like quote tweet you and be like, yeah, that was me this time. So he was able to laugh about it too.
It's good. It's good. He was a good sport about it. I'm happy to hear that because his tweet rubbed me the wrong way. Maybe I'm just a BLG truther and I'm on Team BLG. But good stuff there. BLG, we talked a little bit about that trade. Bad sign for Ringo, right? At least I would think Ringo and Adoree Jackson. How do you see it from the perspective of those two guys who presumably came into camp as the top two? You wanted one of them to win it. You really wanted Ringo to win it. I think that's who the Eagles wanted. And now you make a trade. You get rid of Thomas Booker, a decent depth piece at the tackle spot, defensive tackle, and you bring in Jakorian. What do you think that means for Ringo and Adoree Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, it was the same day that Vic Fangio said that the cornerback competition is close. And I think that's kind of disappointing from a standpoint of, I think, the expectation or the hope, the realistic hope was that from the team perspective that Kelee Ringo, would really take a step forward and kind of just totally seize this job the way in the past where, maybe like Jordan Mailata sees that left tackle job back when he was, rising up and competing with Andre Dillard, even though it wasn't much of a competition, or even like Reed Blankenship or whoever in the past, where they kind of just like really just rose up and made that leap. And it's like they didn't look back. And we haven't seen that from Kelee. And he had a great chance to kind of give himself more wind behind his sails in training camp on Tuesday, where there's an interception there to be made. And great job by him to know what's going on, to be in position to make the play. Yeah. But you got to catch the ball and and it wasn't like a challenging interception either. You're not asking him to make like a diving effort. I mean, it's right there in his hands, and he has that, and it's a pick six, and that would go, I feel like, a long way for being able to kind of boost his stock here. So I don't think Keelee's been bad necessarily. I think that's kind of inaccurate to say he can't play. He's terrible. I don't believe in that. I just don't think he's quite made that leap that, again, people would have hoped he expected. So I still think there's a good chance he's the week one starter. But I think you add Jakorian Bennett to give you more optionality and more, a fallback option if you have to play him.
Do you think, BLG, that Jakorian Bennett could be involved? Vic says he wants to get his best five on the field. Do you think, his history in Las Vegas is 700 plus of his 800 something snaps are outside.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's 5'11". Could he play inside? Could Adoree Jackson play inside? Maybe he plays outside. Could we see more of Cooper DeJean at safety than just the base defense? Is there any that pop into your mind at all? Because it did to me with Jakorian Bennett.
I don't know if I connect them as much. I don't think we'll see Bennett inside. I don't think he has that kind of role. And then Jackson has barely kind of done it in his career, if I recall correctly. Looking at his snap counts, it hasn't really happened too much. But I do think
Vic will look at players and say, you know what?
That's true.
He'll look and say, I think he
fair.
can do it. Yeah,
it's totally fair. We saw Quinion get slot reps last year, which didn't amount to anything in terms of the regular season.
Yeah.
So you never know. I can't rule it out, but I do think, to your Cooper DeJean safety point, I do think that seems that's viable. That's something that I think that could happen. So I don't know what that means for the rest of I don't know what that means for the slot cornerback position at that point. I think maybe in a perfect world, you would have had Mac McWilliams, really come in and light it up, and then you could have him there, and then you could move DeJean back to safety. But I do think DeJean at safety has legs.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. BLJ, what do you think about the edge room and how they've developed? That was one of the big concerns coming into camp. Josh Uche getting some play, or at least seems to be having a decent camp. What do you think about the depth at that spot and what you've seen so far?
It's not great. I mean, in terms of like depth, I am excited about the potential of Nolan Smith, potential of Jalen Hunt. I think Uche has had a pretty good summer, like relative to what you would have expected. I think he is their third best edge rusher right now. Behind that, I just don't know. Like, I don't think Azeez Ojulari has had a good summer, really, at all. I was actually making this comparison to the great Jimmy Kempski on the sideline the other day. It's not apples for apples, but it kind of reminds me of Ruben Randall back in the day. When the
Ruben
Eagles,
Randall. All right, good pull.
The Eagles signed, this guy from the Giants who was a pretty young player at the time, had solid production as a 4-year player for them, gets on that second contract, gets a deal that's lower than expected. You think, oh, this is a steal, kind of like the Eagles thought with Ojulari. And it turns out there was a reason why his market was so low. And maybe putting up some production on a bad team doesn't always translate to, being able to be a good player on a good team. So not really feeling so great about him. And then maybe they keep Okoronkwo.
Yeah, how about Ogbo? Is it? I call him the middle size though, because I don't want to butcher his name. He's getting a lot of reps, man.
Yeah,
he's getting and meaningful reps. Is that good or bad?
I think it's bad from a standpoint of like things have gone wrong to that point where he would have a role. But I think the reason why the Eagles signed him before training camp is you want to kind of like raise the floor for that position. That's not like a ceiling raising move. That's a floor raising move.
Yeah.
So yeah, if he's your fourth best edge rusher, I mean, I think it's okay. It's not great. It's not amazing. But it's okay.
So if go ahead. If Vic decide, there's, as far as I know, there is no statute where you can't have 2 trades in the summer. So if things continue to go the way they're going at the edge position, which I'm with you, has been underwhelming, is this still a position that you look at and say they might have to go outside the organization?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's entirely possible. Maybe they like O'Shawn Mathis, who I think he's actually had a solid summer here.
He's been pretty good. He's been pretty good.
Patrick Johnson, they cut him last year, so I don't know how much they like him. He still gets a decent amount of first team reps too, though. So there's that. He's probably not more than a 4th or 5th edge rusher at best. At the same time,
Powell Ryland, nothing.
Yeah, pretty quiet for him. And it's just, I think it's just really the top 3 that I like. Okay, I look at that and I'm like, okay, there's something there. And then after that, I just don't know.
Yeah.
How's Jalen Hunt looked? I think a lot of people, me and John have been talking about him all summer. And I think, I don't know, maybe some of us put the cart before the horse a little bit on him. Developmental player drafted last year. How's he looked at camp to you?
I think, again, exciting, intriguing. The potential is there. I just don't think he's like fully a finished product. And that's fine. Because that was always the deal with him. Like, you're not getting a guy.
Yeah, but how's that bode for like this year? You know what I mean? Like, I agree. Like in the future, I think he's going to be a great player, but I kind of need you to fucking start right now. How's that bode for this year?
I think he can start. I just think, like we're not talking about Pro Bowl player yet. I think that guy can maybe get there.
We're not talking about Micah Parsons yet.
Not quite yet. I think we'll see flashes of that like brilliance and really, but I think there's also going to be kind of some downs too. I just think it's not going to. I think he's going to make a leap from year 1 to year 2 and be good. But I just think it's not going to be like, he's going to be. He's not a finished product yet.
I keep thinking about the Vic, and you brought it up. He said it about 5 different guys, the younger guys. They need to eliminate the negative plays. And I don't know if you caught it at that practice, but there was a little swing pass to A.J. Dillon that should have went for about 5 yards and went for about 20 or so because Johnny Wilson was able to really knock Jalen Hunt off the play.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one where I'm like, oh, that's what Vic's talking about. Because you, as a defensive end, and Johnny's a very good blocker, but you can't let that happen as a defensive end. That's the kind of stuff I'm concerned with. And that's because Vic just pounded it into our brains with the negative plays that people maybe aren't really paying attention to because we're drawing the splash plays. So
Sure.
we're looking at Dylan. Oh, that's a nice little swing pass.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened to be right in front of me. And I'm like, wow, he just got completely walled off by a wide receiver, a big wide receiver, but a wide receiver. That to me is not a positive.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Speaking to that, Vic's obsession with these flat defenders dropping into coverage. Josh Uche and Devontae Smith did not work out well. But sometimes I'm like, and by the way, I've talked about it a lot. Vic is phenomenal, but like when he had Andrew Van Ginkel, all right, I get it. You don't have that player. Maybe you get that player with Jihad Campbell, and I think ultimately that's the goal with Jihad. But why do they keep doing this? And it's just practice.
Yep.
But boy, that looked bad.
Well, you saw Nolan Smith yesterday had a really good rep against Saquon Barkley.
Nolan can do it a little bit. Yeah.
I think Uche, I like his movement skills. I don't like him against Devontae Smith, to be clear. But like if you're talking about maybe a tight end or a running back, I think I like his movement, the way he moves. Certainly, again, a lot better than Ojulari, who just I've not really seen him look comfortable moving backwards like that.
Which is a little bit of a surprise to me, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought because he played some off-ball at Georgia,
Right.
I thought he'd be more comfortable. Jalix is pretty comfortable doing it.
Yes.
I think Nolan is because he played some off-ball at Georgia. And I'm no surprise. Josh, I don't think has done it much. So to put those guys in that position, I'm not sure I understand.
I'm sure people will be complaining about it as soon as someone allows a reception this year.
Hassan Reddick, that was ugly. That part of it. But defensively overall, Zander asked me this question, so I'll ask it to you. When you came into camp, offense, defense, you think each has been a little bit better, a little bit worse? Where are you from those first 10 days of practice?
I think the offense is just, they've had ups and downs, and the passing game has been, here we are talking about the passing game again, has been inconsistent. Jalen Hurts just had some really high highs in Tuesday's practice. He obviously had an interception that was dropped, another one that he threw off his back foot that was not dropped. But overall, I think based on what we've seen so far, I really do feel like this offense is going to be more similar to last year than it's not. I think they're going to have to pass the ball more than they did just because probably going to be trailing more in games too. There's probably not going to be. The schedule's tougher. And also just the fact that they ran it so much, they're probably going to have to pass it a little bit more.
And their defense might not be a historic defense.
Exactly.
Right.
But I do think, by and large, like it's going to be the Saquon Barkley show. And he looks great, by the way, still. So it should be.
He looks unbelievable. He looks much better this year than last year in camp.
He's certainly more comfortable. I agree with that. And he's also more comfortable, I think, too, in terms of like with this team and the personalities. So, I am not fading Saquon Barkley at all. And then on defense, I think there's just still things to figure out, kind of like we've been talking about in the secondary at the depth at edge rusher. I trust Vic Fangio to get the most out of what he has. But I do think like they're not, I don't know if they're going to be hit the ground running as much as they kind of might need to solve some of this stuff. And in fairness, they did that last year, in terms of the slot.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have a slot answer early in the season. Then they figured that out. So maybe kind of things shake out after the first month of the season there, but I do think there could be some tinkering and trying to figure out what they're going to go with at some of these positions.
Yeah. What do you think of the defensive tackle room? Are you as confident in that room as the Eagles are? I mean, they ship off Thomas Booker to bring in Shakurian Bennett. I think on the surface, it makes sense because Booker probably wasn't ever going to get a whole lot of playing time here, but they certainly weakened or at least lessened on paper the depth in that room and replaced it with more unproven players. What do you think about the depth at the defensive tackle room? And then after that, if you want to elaborate just on what Moro Ojoma will be, because I think he's the catalyst for that room after Milton Williams.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was actually writing in my practice notes on Monday prior to the trade, like 4 hours prior to that trade. I'm like, I guess the Eagles are just going to keep 6 defensive tackles because, I like Thomas Booker. He's good. He's going to make it. They're obviously going to keep Ty Robinson. And then I think Gabe Hall has had a good summer. I think he looks the part. I really like. You look at his frame. That's like you're like, okay, that's an intriguing frame to work with there. I think he's really made a leap from being an undrafted rookie free agent who spent all this time on the practice squad last year to being more of a rosterable player this year. So I think they do have depth there. And yeah, Ojomo has looked amazing. It hasn't just been about beating Tyler Steen too. I've seen a lot of that out there. It's not just the case. He's had wins against Landon Dickerson as well. It kind of just doesn't matter who you're blocking him with. He's just very disruptive. Obviously, I think Jordan Davis, there's a big, he could really help make or break this position in terms of like what their ceiling could be.
Feels like they're relying on him to really take a step forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. They should be, and they have to be, considering the financial investment they made in him for next year. But still.
Yeah, but I mean, like for the thought process that might exist of like, all right, he was a great nose and we don't really want him to be anymore. I don't know if I'm seeing that. Like, I think the Eagles want him to expand on what he was good at. He was a great nose. Now, can he be more? I think they want him to be. I understand some people think that they might not want him to be. I'm not sure how you see that, but I think they want him to be more than what he was.
I think he has to be more disruptive. I think he has to be more noticeable. I don't think he can just be, okay, he's helping out like passively or like from a standpoint of like, yeah, he's drawing extra attention or the run defense is great because of him. I don't think all of that necessarily bears out to be true too when you look at when he's on the field and off the field. And also just by the fact how much Vic Fangio is playing him, which again, he was the 4th defensive tackle last year in terms of snaps played behind Joe Carter, behind Milton Williams, and behind Moro Ojomo when you include the playoffs. So I think they just need more snaps out of him, really.
How high are you on Ojomo coming in this year?
Really? I mean, he looks great.
You think he can be what Milton Williams was last year? Me and John have been debating this.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we have to see proof of concept, but I think that ceiling is there for him. Absolutely, yes. I don't think you can just say it's like he is Milton Williams right now. We know that for a fact because he hasn't proven it. He has, in fact, 0 career sacks through 2 years. So I can't just say
by the way, say that again, BLG.
Yeah.
I mean, again, career snaps, and we expect him to be a $26 million player.
He's played better than that. I would say 0 sacks would indicate.
I agree.
And he does have one in the playoffs last year. He won the Super Bowl.
He did get one.
But
in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does. He has 0 regular. Like sometimes I think fans are unfair to players. Like,
sure.
I mean, that's a big leap. And hopefully, because I do think he's a heck of a player, I hope people hear that part of it. But yeah, I'm not expecting him to be Milton Williams. Byron Young as well. I throw him in the mix. I think the Eagles like him. Now, he hurt his groin, but at defensive tackle, I think they like him a little bit.
Yeah.
And we'll see if he can, but you got to get back, Vic, and you got to you got to practice. So injuries can really impact. I want to talk about Jihad a little bit because there was a little narrative this week about putting too much on his plate, the passive aggressive. Every Vic Fangio press conference, BLG, you get a passive aggressive. We don't practice enough comment, which was kind of what he did with Jihad Campbell, and he's putting a lot on his plate. And boy, I got to tell you, they're giving Small Munden a lot of reps in coverage situations.
Yeah,
I think they think he's ahead of him as far as coverage situations. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Small Munden's looked really good in terms of coverage. Was I think what we expected him to be good at, right? Kind of more of his calling card with his frame and everything too, and athleticism. So that part doesn't surprise me. Part of that really stood out to me was when there was a practice here recently where he just like blew up the run like 4 times in a row. Like, he's just down there, physical, meeting the running back in the hole, being in the position to make a tackle. Like, I haven't seen anything he kind of can't do at this point.
The blitzer, they rolled out the blitz in the red zone.
Yeah, blitz, too. Yeah, he looks really good. Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible to think that the Eagles not have just like one linebacker playing well in terms of Zach Bond. He's hurt right now, but just having him on the team, and then they have more, and then they have depth too. It's crazy.
Yeah, and maybe even guys who are good that might not even get on the field because they got so many of them. It does look bleak though for Nakobe Dean, huh? Right, BLG?
It's tough. Yeah, I just don't know. Things could change by the time he gets back, assuming he starts the season on the PUP. There could be injuries. There could be struggles. maybe it just works itself out. But if everyone is playing well, then yeah, it's kind of hard to see exactly how he fits in.
But from the Campbell aspect of it, where do you judge that as? Because I think the hope was, get him on the field as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he will be week 1. I think we're trending to that point. But right now, I mean, I still think the starters are going to be Zach and Trot right now against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think like Jeremiah Trotter Jr., I've been saying this all along. I think there was excitement like the first day at camp when Campbell's like healthier than everyone expects. And it's like, oh, he has the job. He's definitely going to be the guy. And he was a first-round pick, and he has a lot of upside. So the Eagles probably should play him because I think he will get better with those reps. Same time, like Trotter has not gone down without a fight. Like he's playing well, and he's been specifically, as he told Bleeding Green Nation this offseason, an interview he did with Joe Santaloquido for us. He's been at the mic position. He's been that guy and calling the defense. So there's obviously value from that perspective as well. Now, Zach Vaughn has done that. He did have to do it when Nakobe Dean went down. But that hasn't been, his normal role as much as that's something he's also done. So I absolutely think.
Well, they would prefer he didn't do it.
Right, exactly.
You're taking away from his playmaking ability. So I think that's important. That's part of it too, because if Campbell plays, Zach's got to be the mic. So that I think that factors into it as well. And I think, hey, week 1. Now I think they'll have situational packages for Jihad to get him on the field, but boy, it's really looking to me like Trotter's locking down that job. Now he could play poorly in the preseason. That could change. It's still early. I think he's going to play a little bit. You never know what happens, but
and if he doesn't, that's a good sign for him.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
It's great.
But yeah, it's amazing. If you think back to when Nate Gary was your best linebacker, or poor Paul Warlow,
Nicholas Morrow,
Eric Wilson, Nick Morrow.
Yep.
For years, that's how the Eagles did it.
Yeah.
And now you say, hey, that really was a mistake. They should have place more emphasis on that position.
Yeah, more than none at all. I think that was always the bar. It's like you kind of have to do a little bit. There has to be a threshold we have to get to here. And
more than none at all. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because people will talk themselves in. Well, Nick Morrow had a lot of tackles in Chicago or wherever he was. Come a long way. Same thing with the receiver. It's sort of the same thing. For years, you had that. Man, they could not find a receiver. And now you got guys deep on the roster that look like they can play.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Howie's done a great job. By the way, and the last one for me, at Brandon Gout, make sure you follow BLG on the X platform. Bleeding Green Nation is just mentioned. My buddy Joe Santaloquido, who's been close to Trot for years, and the Trotter family. But again, it's big, but there's a couple little over the past 2 press conferences where he talked about a Jory Jackson and he said that's a Howie guy, and anything to this. And Nick was talking yesterday about playing time, because I think the presumption is that Vic's making decisions on the defense, and he made it a point to point out that that's up to me and Howie. Anything? I'm looking for some kind of drama with this team. Everything's going too smoothly.
Right. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny you say that, John, because whenever the question comes up, like, what's the story of Eagles training camp? I mean, the story is there is no story. It's drama-free.
Yeah.
And it's a great spot to be in, especially relative to where they came off their last Super Bowl, where there was drama, mostly around the quarterback position. I mean, I think we've always seen Vic push the edge here a little bit, both publicly and I'm guessing privately as well. And I think he's won some of those, or he's at least like kind of pushed them a little outside of where they originally wanted to be. We've seen that in terms of, the training camp practice schedule and practice amount of time they actually are on the field says, I think, ramped up relative to before he got here. So I think he's had some some wins, some concessions in his favor. And last year we saw, as you pointed out, the starters actually play, the defensive starters in the preseason games. So he's gotten some things. And when you win the Super Bowl like that, you should probably get some more things. But obviously, Nick and Howie, or mostly Howie, I should say, is only going to go so far on like starters in the preseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out. Good stuff, BLG. Thanks for doing it today, brother. We appreciate it, man. As always good to talk to you on a Wednesday. 10 days deep on the eve of the first preseason. It's here, BLG. The season is here, brother.
Exciting.
Yep, no doubt. All right, guys, follow BLG on Twitter at Brandon Goutton and read all his work at bleedinggreennation.com. That is one of the best Eagles websites. For all you Eagle honks out there, you got to get on there. BLG, we appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man.
See you guys.
See you tomorrow.
There's BLJ there joining us on Birds 365. Great stuff there. Two good guest segments today, Johnny Mack, as we wrap up a Wednesday edition with 5 minutes left to go. 10 days done and dusted at training camp. BLG said it at the top. It's already here, man. It's already here this season. It's coming. It goes very quick. I guess it goes even quicker when you win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I like the Reuben Randall pull coming from the Giants to the Eagles.
There you go.
I'd forgotten that one. That was right before I got here, like 2016-ish, 2015-ish, wherever. But yeah, it had a nice little run with the Giants, or at least it looked like it from a perspective. Yeah, he had 57 receptions, 8 touchdowns, coming off his rookie deal, and then he got here and did nothing.
Good pull.
Nothing.
Good pull. You can always count on John to appreciate a pull like that from BLG. Yeah. Good stuff. John, I got one question here from our chat, and I think it's a good question. Well, I don't think everybody's going to like the question, but I think it's fair to at least wonder at this point. Curtis checks in. What's up, Curtis? Was Jihad an unnecessary pick in retrospect? Maybe we should have improved another position. I mean, you hear about this depth at linebacker all of a sudden, so much so that your player who played really an amazing season last year, it's so bleak. We don't even know how he's going to get on the field. And you have
I think there is
safety and corner. Is Curtis on to something, or do you think this is an overreaction?
No, I think it's an overreaction. I think it's one of those things where, again, many people are way too focused on the immediacy of it,
right,
versus the long. I mean, this guy's got a chance. And remember where the Eagles are picking. Like, the only reason he's there at 31 is because, and they moved up one spot, but they were trying to move up to 22 at the, I saw somebody say 18. I have not heard that. Howie told me specifically 22.
Yeah, that's what I think. Well, I would listen to that, right? When Howie told you.
But you never know from the other side. Yeah, but either way, they were trying to go way up to get him, because this is a guy who, if he didn't have March labrum surgery, he would have went probably top 15. So he's got tremendous upside that you don't typically see at 31 in the draft.
Right.
And again, it might take a year. It might take 2 years. I think, last year was such a home run that guys, Quignon and Cooper, were able to play at such a high level so early. That's not the norm. It usually takes some time. And if this guy turns into what he is from an upside standpoint, I don't think there's going to be any doubts about taking him. And again, I think Vic is looking for a specific player, a specific type of player that he doesn't have right now, that he wants. And this could be that player.
Yeah.
That
Do you
versatile.
see any? Go ahead. Do you see any potential at edge for him, or not really?
Well, I think I think ultimately Andrew Van Ginkel is the templates. That's what they want to turn him into. And how he played Miami, and to a certain degree how he plays now, a little bit different, but that's what they're trying to turn him into, as a guy who's part edge rusher, part off-ball linebacker, great great as an edge guy, great in coverage. Yeah, he's got 4 pick sixes over the past couple of years. He's long. He's athletic. He's got a high football IQ. That's the player Vic wants.
Right.
And I think they believe that Jihad has a chance to be that player. And if he turns into that player, everybody's going to be thrilled.
Yeah, no doubt. I think there would be even more credence to this question if they did move up to 22 and take him. But considering where they picked, which you did bring up, John, I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure the Chiefs selected a tackle after them. And then I think at the top of the second round was that other linebacker, that Schlesinger kid. Yeah. And then I think there was a receiver in there. I know Nick Emanwari was in there. Yeah. So, like, maybe the safety, maybe you could have made a case for Emanwari to bolster that position instead of waiting till 64 to pick up Makuba. But overall, I don't think there was a player that was even close to the potential Jihad brings. So good question, though. I think it's a fair question. Curtis, thanks for dropping it in the chat. We got about a minute left to go. Let me make sure we got all of our super chats. So big thanks to you. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts here on this Wednesday edition of Birds 365. Back in our normal spot today.
I don't think we cracked Borpe. I'm very disappointed.
We're almost at 9, but not
well, we cracked 9 at one point. I did see us go over 9, but
good YouTube numbers though, which is the most important. So that's good.
Yeah, very disappointed. So
that's all right. We'll get there, J-Mac. Don't you worry about it. You guys got to keep sharing, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep commenting. We appreciate that. J-Mac, good show today, brother. Preseason game tomorrow. What's your agenda tomorrow? You wake up at 10. What time you going down there, man? Is it like you get there and right when the game starts? You got to get there early. How do you handle a preseason game, John?
No, well, I got to get there. Well, I got to beat traffic, number one. So, I mean, still, even though it's preseason, there's going to be a lot of people there. So, not a big fan of traffic. So, I tend to get there early and work from there. But also got to pick up credentials, which, adds another half hour onto the equation. So, pain in the what. But those are inside baseball issues.
Yep, no doubt. Johnny Mac, great show, brother. We will catch you tomorrow in the morning. So we'll be in the morning for the rest of the week. And then I don't know what I don't have a projection for Monday yet. I don't think Monday is. I don't know Monday yet.
Monday they are off, so we'll be on in the morning. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we'll have night shows, unfortunately.
Okay, so next week is
not a big fan of the night show, but only because people are used to listening to us in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think it's better from the standpoint of you get to talk about what happened at practice at least. So it's it's more relevant. So I think more people should pay attention to that. And obviously Cleveland will be in Wednesday and Thursday. So those will be exciting days.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Good stuff there. Johnny Mac, great show today, brother. We'll catch you tomorrow morning. All right, man?
All right, sounds good.
All right, thanks, J-Mac. There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen, the #1 Eagles beat reporter in town, our host here, our co-host here on Birds 365. Follow him at JF McMullen. Great show from him today. We appreciate the contributions he brings to the channel. Appreciate everybody for all the likes, the comments today. As always, we've got a great crowd in here. I love each and every one of you. You guys make the shows fun. So thanks very much for being here and a good show today. I thought BLG was awesome. Interesting with that Brett Toth stuff. I don't like to be too hard on players. I hate shit like that. It's like, yo, Brett, all right, if you want to correct them, I'm cool with that because you're protecting your job and the perception of you at the league. I understand that. But the stupid narrative that he had to attach to it of these are the experts that you choose to get your information from. It's like, yo, Brett, I don't need a fucking life lesson, all right, about how to consume media. Thanks. Go out in the fucking football field and do your job. Thank you. All right. I don't need to be told what to do and how to do it. I mean, come on, man. Come on. But yeah, I didn't like that. Here we go. Look at Bob Groats checking in. Groats, the people in the chat miss you, Groats. They said, when's Bob coming back on? I'm like, I think Bob retired and went to a new country. I don't think he's coming on anytime soon. But good to see Bob in the chat over on Twitter. Good stuff, Bob. Thanks for being here. Philly Don says, doesn't matter when the shows are. We'll all be tuning in. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. Brandon says your numbers will go up start of the season. No doubt, man. We've had a good off season. All right. Brandon Howard wants to know what's the plan for tomorrow. What do you think? What do you guys want? What do you guys want? Do we want to post? Do we want to live? I said yesterday, I'm like, you guys really want to hear me react to watching these third string dudes on the field? I don't know. I'm definitely going to do a pregame and a postgame with J-Mac, but not a full. I'm not going to do a full pre and postgame. We're not having a full with Cilio, me. It's not going to be the full shebang. There's no way. There's no way. There's no reason for that. But I will definitely be live. You know me. I mean, I'm in charge of the channel, so it doesn't cost me anything to go live outside of my time. So I'll be live for sure, pre and post. But how long? I don't know. And Taryn says, suffer with us. All right. Maybe I have to. All right. Maybe I got to do it. Something that we were trying to work on for the season, which would be cool, would my pop, Joe Krause, he wants to do the play-by-play during the season, which I think would be sick. So that'd be pretty cool for him to do. And he's great at that, man. He's got such a good play-by-play voice. So live stream to discuss the practice squad, guys. All right, maybe I'll look at my studio today. The problem is my setup is over here and my TV is all the way over there. See it? And so I'd have to set up the way I'm set, right now. I'd have to alter it a little bit, but I'll look into that. Maybe we'll do something tomorrow. Kevin says, good morning, Zander. Been away due to a heavy workload. Glad you're still here. Kevin, I'm not going anywhere, my friend. I'm not going anywhere. Appreciate you being here, Kev, and good job on the workload, brother. Hey, listen, Kevin, somebody's got to do it, right? All right. Being able to work a lot is a blessing. All right. Believe me, it could be worse. All right. So it's a privilege, and I'm happy to be able to do it. Good stuff with Kevin Landon. Keep grinding, brother. Keep grinding. Open practice Sunday. You going? I am not, R. Anthony. Is that Sunday? Is that Sunday? I didn't realize that was I didn't realize that was Sunday. That's pretty cool, though. I'm not going. No, I'm not going. Preseason sucks. We need Z to make it more entertaining. Keith says, Kevin thought Zander drove off in the C8 to never be seen again. Keith, it's actually to be seen more. That's part of the – wait a second, Keith. No. Keith. We got a violation. Keith. I don't think, Keith, we got a big problem right now, Keith. And I think you know where I'm going with this. Keith, major problem, a bigger problem than we've had in the last couple days. Keith, no. Don't give me that bullshit emoji. No. Keith, we got a problem. Where are you? Where is the humping of the desert animal, Keith? Where is it? That has become synonymous with who you are in the chat. Josh knows what I'm talking about. Where's the damn camel? Where did the camel go? You got tired of taking my shit. Him and the camel broke up. That's pretty funny. All right. Good stuff, everybody. Good show. Camel Keys. Hopefully he makes a return. He said, there we go. I'll bring it back sooner or later. What did you change it to? What are you holding, like a bottle in that picture? I can't really see. It's real small, and I don't have the best eyes. I sit in front of this damn computer screen. I don't think it's the best thing for my eyeballs. They don't work very well nowadays. I gotta say, I don't know where my glasses are. I'm not even down here right now. I got a pair of glasses last year, like March, I want to say. March, I think I got them. The prescription's already not working. It works, but it's certainly not like it was when I first got them. I'm like, man, my eyes are getting bad quick. Should I do LASIK? Should I get that? I don't know. I don't know if I would even qualify. I'm not sure what the process is. Something about that makes me very queasy. I'll say that. Something about the process of getting LASIK makes me very queasy. I don't like it. You're too young for that shit, Keith. Those eyes are done, man. Jesse says DTR going to play 3 quarters. I don't know. Might be McCord and might be Kyle McCord and the DTR show. All right. It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. Eduardo says you need to get those glasses that work well with computer screen. Yeah, like the blue light. Well, I don't wear glasses when I'm on the computer. I don't need them. They're more for my far sight. But I guess maybe they would help. You want me to wear goofy ass blue light glasses all day, dude? I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to fucking do that. Yeah, Texas T. My mom told me that would happen. When I got my glasses, Texas T, my mom was like, don't wear them all the time, because I started wearing them like all the time when I first got them. She's like, please don't wear them all the time. Your eyes are gonna get way worse. And I'm like, Mom, shut up. Yeah, Mama was right. Mama's always right. That's how it works in life. Blue light screen protector. I do keep the blue light off on my screens, but I don't know. Terrence says Ringo and Adoree not playing. I haven't gotten any word. All right, I haven't gotten any word, but we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you very much. All right. Appreciate everybody for being here, man. Hit that like button. Always good to see all the great people, coming back in. I saw my boy Caleb was in here. HKP, it's good to see you back in. Hi, Dom. Khalil's in here. So everybody's kind of trickling back in, which is always good. I don't, not everybody's with us all through the offseason, which is fine. So I get it. But Secunda's in here. What's up, Secunda? I'm waiting for Secunda to become a member. The day that Secunda becomes a member will be a big day. Secunda, will you ever submit to capitalism and support your favorite YouTube channel? Secunda, will you ever do it? We don't know. We do not know. We do not know if Secunda will ever support the capitalism that is JAKIB Sports. Hi, Dom says, I stay tuned every day. Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. Fredo's in here. What up, Fredo? You are well, Fredo. All right, let's hash this out for a second. Okay, Fredo says your favorite Puerto Rican. I think right now, Fredo, at this stage of my life, I'll give you the nod as my favorite Puerto Rican. But I told you the story of when I worked at a bar. It was the last job I had. I was 17 years old. All right, been on my own since then, but I freaking loved the Puerto Ricans that I worked with in that job. They were the best. I used to bring them Red Bull. I would stop at the Wawa on the way in and bring them all Red Bulls because, listen, when you work at a restaurant, there's some tricks to the trade, all right? You make friends with the chefs. You make friends with the dishwashers, and you make friends with anybody that works inside the kitchen, all right? So I was always buddy with them because they give you, hey, Jose, I got a free food. Hey, we messed up an order. Hey, who wants this sandwich? Oh, let's give it to Zander. He gives us the Red Bulls. So they were my boys, though, man. They were great. They were great dudes. I used to always tell the one dude, Michael. Michael was the what do you call it when the guy that facilitates the plates when they're in the hot to like the food tray that you deliver them on. I forget what that's called. But he was that guy. And I used to always say, one day, Michael, when I make it big in life, I'm going to open up a restaurant and you're going to be my head chef. No, not busboy, Tony. Jeez, not busboy. Anybody, you wouldn't know what it would be called unless you worked in a restaurant, probably. Not prep. There's a name for it. I forget what it's called. I forgot what it was called, though. Who's the guy that? I'd have to look. Is it the Expediter? That doesn't sound right. No, not the sous chef. The sous chef was my boy too, though. I was boys with all the chefs. You guys don't understand. I would walk in. These Puerto Ricans love me. They love me. I love them too. They were great, man. It was so fun. Work was legitimately fun. And the one dude loved baseball, man. He watched baseball all freaking day. Expeditors, right? Is that what it is? Yeah, Expediter. All right, good stuff. All right, everybody. I appreciate you all being here today. All right, it's been fun. Get ready because Zander times are going to be getting longer. All right, as we get closer to the season, we'll be doing more post-Birds 365 content. We're we're going to have a lot of stuff going on this year, man. We're going to have another great season here on JAKIB Sports. We're going to, cover the team, obviously, wall to wall. We're going to continue to incorporate the great people that we have in the chat each and every single day. We're going to continue to do things for our great members that support our channel, not only, with their viewership, but with monetarily, which is obviously a big thing. And I had one dude in here who said, you do giveaways for to pad your pocketbook or something. I'm like, well, I don't know what world you live in, but yeah, I got to pay people, man. Celia's got to get paid. Johnny Mac's got to get paid. Money is kind of how it works. I can't deposit views, man. I can't deposit comments in the chat, Super chat I can deposit, but I can't deposit a comment in the chat. So big thanks to everybody that's a member on the channel. We appreciate you. Are we setting the bar for a jersey giveaway for this game tomorrow? The problem is, Brandon, I don't have anything yet, but I did announce I'm giving Jason A-Team a nice gift for being our longest standing legend member. So that's pretty cool. But a lot of stuff coming, Brandon. Don't worry, man. Brandon, here's my promise. We gave away a lot of things last year. I didn't keep a full tally, but I started to keep a tally. I want to say like a little bit later. I gave away a lot of shit last year. My one promise for the season, and it's tough to live up to this because we don't know the exact number, but I promise to give away more than I gave away last year. Okay, that's my promise. I don't know how we'll facilitate that just yet, but I'm gonna give away more shit this season than last season. Okay, so I don't know how yet. I don't know how. Here's the thing: I can only do that if the members keep staying members. If the people re-up on their memberships, the super chats keep flowing, and all those things happen. If they don't happen, then shit, you guys are shit out of luck. You guys are shit out of luck. You guys are shit out of luck. But I think it'll continue to happen. I think you guys will continue to support. So good stuff. I appreciate all you guys for being here today. Good show, as always. A little August 6th action. Getting closer, one day out from preseason. All right, one day out. So appreciate all of you guys for being here. Hit that like button. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be live later on today, 2 to 6 from the National Football Show. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.